Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another MIDF Conversation, where we host a lunchtime conversation between MIDF and captains of industry and thought leaders. This is a keto lunch for the intellect. No carbs, no starch, just the good stuff. Pure protein and some greens as food for thought. I would like to welcome all our participants, the entrepreneurs, CEOs, fund managers, and finance and business professionals, the individual investors investing their own hard-earned money, members of the media, students, especially those studying maths or economics, colleagues, and everyone. And of course, a special mention to all those watching from the Minggu Saham Amanah Malaysia 2022 in Port Dickson. I'm delighted to have with us today Dato Sri Amrin Awaluddin, Group Managing Director and CEO of Lembaga Tabung Haji. Welcome to MIDF Conversations, Dato Sri, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Dr. Sharon. Thank you for giving Tabung Haji the opportunity to have this conversation with you and also with the audience through MIDF Conversation. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
It's most welcome, Dato Sri, and we should be thanking you. You are, well, so many people want to learn to find out about what's going on in Tabung Haji. But as a lead-in, maybe we could just talk a little bit about yourself and how your journey to becoming the CEO of Lembaga Tabung Haji, which is probably one of the most senior positions you can think of when it comes to fund management.
Okay, today is my actually I think my 18 months. I'm completing my 19th month in Tabung Haji. I joined Tabung Haji I think way back in May 2021, May last year. Straight from Lembaga Tabung Angkatan Tentera. Before that, I was so basically, the mission here is actually to put things into better perspective in Tabung Haji. I think there's a lot of challenges. I think you're aware of challenges in Tabung Haji since 2018. So inshallah, we want to Tabung Haji and right to be the likes PNG, ETF, and so on, inshallah.
Very modest as usual. You've been in so many businesses before this. You've run media companies, you've run Sam Darby Properties, you've worked in finance, you've worked in banking, you've been so many places. But that's Dato Sri Amrin for all of you. Extremely modest. So okay, let's get to the heart of it. Lembaga Tabung Haji, it used to be known as Lembaga Urusan dan Tabung Haji, which I guess really sets out the two functions of the organization. I mean, obviously, it's fundamentally set up because of with a religious purpose to make sure that people go on hajj or can afford to go on hajj. But you have two parts, right? There's the tabung, which is the deposit and the investment part, and the urusan, which is to make sure that all the pilgrims safely arrive in the Holy Land and safely get back. So can we start with the deposit part? Actually, what is a Tabung Haji depositor? Because I think we're not quite clear. Are you like a bank or what are you?
Yeah, thank you for asking that question. I mean, that's what this provides us with the right opportunity to really introduce Tabung Haji. Tabung Haji was set up in 1963 by the late Mpu Aziz, basically. In the past, pilgrims will save money under their pillows or so on, or in the bank. And then some will even borrow in debt or sell their assets to go to Hajj, basically. And then the other part on the Urusan Haji. So we have the Tabung and the Urusan. The Urusan Haji is where at that point of time, pilgrims from Malaya, Malaysia, at that point of time before 1963, depended on third parties, operators in Saudi, call them the sheikhs. So there's the funding part, savings part, and also managing Hajj. Hence the name Lembaga Urusan and Tabung Haji. So under our Akta, the latest has been enacted in 1995. Tabung Haji key responsibility and sole purpose of existence is to manage Hajj operation for Malaysians residing in Malaysia and to manage the deposit which this future pilgrim will deposit in or keep safe in Tabung Haji, basically. And then that's the two key important things of Tabung Haji. So we are not a bank, neither are we a financial institution. We have branches. We have 123 branches nationwide. We have also customer service center. We work with strategic banks, CIMB, Maybank, Bank Islam, Bank Rakyat, and also RHB. So through this, we have about 10,000 touch points. We are not a bank because we only take deposit. We don't provide loan. We don't provide third-party investment. So Alhamdulillah, Dato Sharon, you're a depositor. So you deposit your money with Tabung Haji, waiting for your Hajj turn, and we will manage and invest your funds on behalf of you under the principle called wakalah. Wakalah in English means wakil. It's like fund manager. So we manage your deposit. We invest either in capital asset or our strategic investment to provide returns to enable you to perform Hajj in the future. But over the years, other than savings for Hajj, it has also been an investment tool for depositors. And because of that, at times in the past, Tabung Haji has been compared with the likes of PNB, EPF, and also other asset management companies in terms of return. In terms of the structure of Tabung Haji, if you can imagine the balance sheet of Tabung Haji, yeah. So our liability, 99% is depositors. We owe the depositors. They entrust their funds with us, their deposit fund, and our assets will be the assets that we invest on behalf of depositors. Fixed asset, capital asset, strategic investment, subsidiaries, and even associates. So we don't have a shareholders fund. We are not owned by the government. We are not owned by a particular shareholder. We are a fund, and in a way, indirectly owned by the depositors, which currently we have about 8.69 million depositors, basically. And maybe my colleague can share the slides. Slide number 3 is actually a background of how Tabung Haji have evolved. Next year, we'll be celebrating 60 years next September. So when we was first accepted, we have 46,000 deposit, and now it's about 87.83 billion, largest ever in the history of Tabung Haji. We have grown to about 8.69 million depositors. And this total savings is actually what I call just now as our liability, because we receive the savings and we invest the savings. And currently, our asset under management as of September is about almost 88 billion. So those entire assets or asset under management is owned by depositors. So since inception, allow us to introduce briefly about Tabung Haji. We have managed and sent about almost 1.5 billion pilgrims from Malaysia. And Hafiz, I would like to talk, given the opportunity to talk more about Hafiz. Hafiz, this is financial assistance. In a way, it's like a subsidy. And since 2001, Tabung Haji has been assisting or supporting about 2.23 billion in terms of Hajj costs. And mentioned about the branches and asset management, as mentioned just now, almost about 88 billion from 8.69 million depositors. So hopefully that gave us a snapshot introduction about Tabung Haji, Dato Sharon.
No, thank you. No, this is great. And I think I guess re-emphasize this point. When you say that Tabung Haji owns something, it doesn't really own it, right? It's the depositors who
Wakalah, we are fund manager.
Yeah.
We manage on your behalf.
Yeah. So when
a shareholder, like I mentioned just now, if you come to my office, Amrin, I like your MacBook. I like your MacBook. I say, well, Dato Sharon, if you like my MacBook, you can take it because it's yours. I'm managing.
1/8 million of it is mine. So.
1/8 million. Thank you.
But yeah, that's right.
That's how the concept it is. So it's very challenging.
Yeah.
As I mentioned just now, over the years, from savings institution, evolved into an investment institution. So from managing the savings, we are expected also to generate competitive returns. That's the challenge.
Yeah, which
funding, subsidizing Hajj costs.
Right. So we established that it is owned by the depositors, so to speak. So there's no government money involved as such, isn't it? So when Tabung Haji does something, it's basically using depositors' money to do that. It's not government money, which is which is...
It's a government institution.
Mhm.
It's a government institution, and to a certain extent is owned by the government, but the assets of Tabung Haji is owned by the depositors.
and funded by the depositors. So we'll get back to that and this idea. And you offer same-day funds, don't you? So if somebody deposits money with Tabung Haji, they can go to any Tabung Haji branch and say, I want all my money out today. Right?
Precisely. So like I said just now, for example, let's say I have some money in GMD and I want to close my account. Let's say, for heaven's sake, maybe just assumption, maybe like 300,000 or 500,000. The branch manager will say, okay, thank you, Amrin. We take note. Inshallah, maybe you can come tomorrow and take your money. In Tabung Haji, is savings, and there's no limit in terms of amount that you can deposit in Tabung Haji. And we are committed under our act to provide on call at any point of time for you to withdraw partial or in full your savings in Tabung Haji.
Yeah, I mean,
so you need to unwind your asset management, MIDF asset management. You need to the depositor or the contributor normally given a time where they can withdraw and take out their money.
Yeah,
it's one aspect. And then the beauty between because why it has evolved from savings to investment under our Akta Tabung Haji 1995, all savings in Tabung Haji is indirectly guaranteed by the government of Malaysia, every single cent. Whereas if you put money in CIMB or any financial institution, it's guaranteed by PIDN to a maximum of 250,000 ringgit. In Tabung Haji, if you have a savings of 1 million ringgit, the government through the consolidated fund will ensure your savings of 1 million ringgit is fully protected in terms of capital and also ease of withdrawal, as you mentioned just now. That is between Tabung Haji, EPF, PNB, or any other bank and financial institution.
So in return for all this, the government guarantee and the same day funds, you still expect it to deliver high return, which is...
Oh yes, high return based on, when I learned finance 30 years ago, we call it the RF, the risk-free rate. So risk-free rate, but very competitive return.
Wow. So it's almost, I mean, it's, you know, it's quite hard to square this. Now, 1 million ringgit is more than what a depositor needs to go on Hajj, right?
Yes, of course. Yes, of course. So it has evolved. It has evolved from a Hajj savings institution established by the late Tunku Aziz. He did very well. And it has evolved over the years into an investment institution, expecting to give what we call here very competitive returns.
But having said that, though, I mean, the vast majority of your depositors, I mean, they don't have millions in their account, do they? What do most people have?
Okay, I would say about 20% of our depositors have contribute 80% of the deposit, and we have 80% of the depositors contributing 20% of the deposits. So this 20%, we can safely assume they invest because of government guarantee indirectly. Shariah-compliant, I mean, how more Shariah-compliant can Tabung Haji be compared to the institution?
Yes.
And of course, you know, immediate withdrawal, like you say, same-day withdrawal. So these are unique features of Tabung Haji compared to any other financial institution. So yes, we have depositors who have millions or maybe more putting their money in Tabung Haji, but we do have those who have around on average about 5,000, 2,088, or maybe more savings for their preparation for Hajj.
Okay. All right. Well, this brings us really to what you're talking about just now, which was which is the Hafiz, or the financial assistant. So how much does it cost? What the basic package? I mean, how much does that cost?
Okay. In Malaysia, we have two types of Hajj package. We have the Muasasa, which is solely managed by Tabung Haji. Muasasa is a basic package. And normally the other part, the second package, where we have package provided by third-party authorized agencies. I mean, these are travel agents licensed by Tabung Haji. We call it TJH, Pengelola Jemaah Haji, which is mainly travel agents. So for the Muasasah package, as at last year, the cost is about 10,980 ringgit. And compared to a PJH package by travel agents, cheapest I think about 40,000 last year and can go up to about 250,000. Maybe I can take you to slide number 9, basically, if you don't mind. Basically, it's really quite interesting because people don't know. Not many people have to go to Hajj. Basically, these are the services being provided by Tabung Haji, basically under the Muasasah package. Next slide, Alif, slide 10. So these are the services that provided by Tabung Haji. So if you are Muasasah package, you paid about 10,980 ringgit last year, and you will stay in the Holy Land, Makkah and Madinah, for at least 40 to 45 days, some or even more. So these are the services that provided by Tabung Haji. Basically, we are a full-blown travel agent. So this is pre-departure. This is Malaysia. Medical examination, basic Hajj course, Hajj registration, intensive course. We manage the visa, we manage the flight, we buy the flights for you, for the Jemaah. And next slide basically is the services that we provide in Mecca. Accommodation, return flights, reception upon arrival. We provide hospital and health services. We provide financial services. We provide meals, currently except for breakfast, and all other services basically. So these are full-blown services for 40 to maybe up to about 45 days at the price last year for those B40 at 10,900 basically. And for last year, first time since 2009, and yeah, since 2009, we were able to increase our Hajj cost, basically, Hajj payment. Basically, the cost we increased from 9,980 initially in 2019 to about 10,980 for those recognized as B40. And those who are above non-B40 categories, for Jemaah who are non-B40 categories, they will pay 12,980 ringgit for this sort of services. And these are what we call Hajj payment or bayaran haji. The actual cost for Hajj of last year was 28,000 ringgit.
So more than twice. It costs more than double the amount they pay too.
Yes, basically. So this is what we call Hafiz, Hajj financial support or assistance, basically. Or some will call it subsidy, but we can't call it subsidy because under the Islamic principle, you should go to Hajj only if you can afford. Isi itu kemampuan kesehatan, keselamatan, keuangan, dan bersedia. So which you are ready. So basically, when the late Nku Aziz started the fund, is basically to allow future pilgrim to save money instead of selling their asset or taking loans to go to Hajj, basically. And if I can share the next slide, let me show the next slide, slide 13. Slide 13. Slide 13. Sorry, Dato Sharon. So by showing,
please carry on. This is fascinating.
The picture speaks 1,000 words. So these are what we call Hajj financial support. So it started basically in 2001. So in 2001, Hajj financial support assistance basically was only about 10%. Last year, it has ballooned to about almost 62% for B40. So 38%, the blue table, the graph basically, bar chart, it's the Hajj payment paid by a Jemaah. And the green, the 62 and 55%, represents the financial support or assistance provided by Tabung Haji, in this case by depositors like you, basically. So Alhamdulillah, last year, last Hajj, we are able to increase the Hajj payment. And inshallah, hopefully next year there will be increase in Hajj payment too. We expect the cost for Hajj next year will touch about 31,000. 31,000 increase from 28,000 this year. So next year, Next Hajj, sometime middle of the year, in June, it will increase to about 31,000. And inshallah, God willing, we will continue to provide the Hajj subsidy, Hafiz, but the Hajj payment will need to increase. Because here, we need to ensure that Tabung Haji is sustainable, future-proof, and so on. If we can share the same slide, the next slide, slide 14, is where there's a dilemma in Tabung Haji among depositors, among management, board members. This is the P&L of Tabung Haji. So you have total income revenue for typical P&L revenue minus costs, admin operating costs. It's typical of any fund managers, and Hafiz. The red box is the Hafiz. The Hafiz is the 62% or 40%, which we elaborate later just now. And less than that, you have your impairment and any typical investment entity, impairment, ECL, write-off. Then we pay zakat and we help depositors. And of course, we need to have these reserve retirement benefits for the staff of Tabung Haji. And we allocate some for reserve. And the green box is what we call here the hibah or dividend. So in a way, during a good year, basically, I think in 2020 and 2001, there was no Hajj. So there was no Hajj financial support. Hence the agihan keuntungan or the profit, the green box, Tabung Haji were able to pay higher. So every year during Hajj period, the challenge for Tabung Haji is to manage the Hajj financial support in order to pay higher profit distribution to depositors. So this is the challenge for Tabung Haji.
So I see. So when people say the Hajj financial support is being given by Tabung Haji, it's not really, right? It's being given by the depositors.
By depositors.
Because so, they get a lower distributable profit. Because
but I think it's quite acceptable. This is what we call good deeds, pahala, barakah. So you share your profit as a depositor. At the end of financial or calendar year, sometimes in April and March, we will distribute our hibah or distribute profit, agihan keuntungan, we call it AK. And before that, depositors like you also contribute towards the Hajj costs for other people, basically. So it's deeds of returns on investment during the current life, and also return on investment for the afterlife.
And what are the rates of return we're looking at the moment? Can you share that?
Okay. Yes. Okay. In the past, we can go to slide 21. I think. 21. So this is the trend or the number of
Oh, okay.
So this the trend analysis of the profit return since 2014, basically, and you can look at distribution amount to a certain extent. And so I think before 2014, 2015, the return was very high at that point of time, partly because Tabung Haji then invested a lot in what we call here equity, high risk, high return, basically. But that does not reflect the profile or asset liability of Tabung Haji. I think that's what you mentioned earlier, Dato Sharon, where cash is immediately upon withdrawal. I mean, it's not like EPF where you have to wait for your money until you attain the age of 50 or retirement. Here, you can withdraw the money tomorrow. But, we have some investment in equity. So before that, basically, before we have a proper strategic asset allocation, the bulk of our investment has been in equity. So that's reflect the higher return then. And as you know what happened in the stock market with the decline in oil prices. So the return starts to drag down, decline. And post or the restructuring in 2018-2019, Tabung Haji has revised its strategic asset allocation to reflect its current risk profile and balance sheet. And now currently about, almost 50% of our investment are into fixed income, which is a high, lower risk, and also property and other related investment. We have also diversified our investment to go into into other markets, basically, in terms of what we call here natural diversification. We can share slide 7. So this illustrates our hibah or AK trend.
So can you just look at it? So
Right.
2014, it was 6.25% return, was it? And sorry.
Alif, can go to the slide earlier, the earlier slide.
With the returns.
Yeah, we return that slide.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So 2018 is post during the restructuring period, if you recall. So that's where okay, one thing about Tabung Haji under the Tabung Haji Act, Tabung Haji, notwithstanding whether Tabung Haji register profit of 3 billion or 5 billion, if Tabung Haji asset is lower than liability, Tabung Haji under the Act is not allowed to pay dividend or hibah, basically. When you compare to a company, some company, when you have negative NTA, under that rule, the company cannot pay dividend. Notwithstanding that is a concession business, IPP or toll road, where normally have negative NTA. So that was the challenge for Tabung Haji in 2018 because of the stock market performance and so on over the years. So the asset went down below liability, which means that Dato Sharon saved maybe 10,000 ringgit in Tabung Haji, but your actual asset value now is less than 10,000 ringgit. That was then. So yes, this is the trend basically, and as mentioned earlier just now, higher return then during the 2014, 2015 was mainly because of the performance of stock market to a certain extent, and of course, Tabung Haji then was focusing more on equity investment rather than asset class which reflect its proper profiling of its liabilities.
So somewhere in 2014, for example, it says 6.25% and 2% at the.
Yes, 2% is where it was given a special dividend was given to those who has not performed hajj.
Okay.
So 6.2% is the normal dividend for any depositors. So then the incentive was those who has not performed hajj given more opportunity, more return to ensure that they are financially ready to perform hajj.
That's very good. I mean, that's a very handsome return for given the low risk.
Yes, that's right. So then, of course, as you know, the equity market turned south, oil prices, challenges in economy, Tabung Haji were unable to generate such return anymore. And currently, given the risk profile of Tabung Haji, basically, cash is withdrawal immediate. We need to change our risk profile, and our risk profile now, our strategic asset allocation, is reflected in slide 7.
Yes.
Slide 7. So it's more reflective of the commitment and obligation of Tabung Haji. Slide number 7.
So you're looking more like a traditional fund manager now. Would it be fair to say in terms of?
To a certain extent, a traditional fund manager, but we need to, our risk profile must reflect our obligation. First and foremost, Dr. Sharon, we need to generate return every year, annual return, because we have 2 commitments Tabung Haji every year. First, we need to ensure that we are able to distribute profits, or agihan keuntungan, or we call it dividend. Second, we have a commitment to fund our hajj operation every year, as long there is a sun and moon, stars, and there's no war, no SARS or COVID, a hajj will be there, so we need to fund the hajj operation. And basically, gone are the days where Tabung Haji can take higher risk or even greenfield investment, because we need every year we need to churn return for our dividends and also to fund our hajj operation. And funding hajj operation is not only the normal direct cost and indirect cost, but of course the hafiz, the bantuan kewangan haji. So this is our strategy asset allocation. So currently we are more into fixed income, relatively acceptable risk in terms of deposit equity and foreign equity, and of course property investment.
Okay. So I notice you have foreign equity here. So
Yeah.
this is. I mean, we've been talking to some of the other Malaysian fund managers, and they're also been going into foreign. Do you see foreign being getting a greater share of your assets?
Yes, inshallah, at the right time, but it's more the purpose of natural hedge, because as you can see, our operation technically, our exposure in terms of operation is more foreign risk, but Saudi Hajj. So where we are able to do, we will try to go into what we call here natural hedging, natural hedge, and where possible, when it's allowed, subject to risk and return. We would like to diversify our assets rather than focusing solely in Malaysia, maybe in other markets and also in other sectors outside Malaysia. But first and foremost, it should be a natural hedge, US dollar, Saudi riyal, and so on. And the other part will be where we would like to diversify our portfolio, not putting our eggs in one basket. Thank you, Alif. Thank you for the slide.
Amazing. Oh, sorry, just for everyone listening in, there is a Q&A box. So if you'd like to ask Dato Sri any questions, please put your questions there. And you can be anonymous or you can give your name, but we will give preference to questions where the person gives their name. Not. Okay, sorry, Dato Sri, I interrupted you.
Maybe so it's part of our mission in Tabung Haji. We launched our Hijrah 24 transformation plan journey. What we intend to do, to be fair, this was started before I joined. So basically, we are putting all the plan, the strategy in place, and to move forward. Our objective, you introduced Tabung Haji very well just now through your question. We want to institutionalize Tabung Haji. As long as there is Hajj operation, Tabung Haji needs to be around. By doing this, we need to future-proof Tabung Haji. There's a lot of challenges in terms of future-proofing. One is to ensure that Tabung Haji continue to be relevant in terms of accepting deposit and giving competitive returns within its risk profile, and also providing service to bakal jemaah future pilgrims. I think you are well aware now in terms of relevance, in terms of Hajj operation. A lot of people now are traveling without using travel agents. A lot of my friends are doing, Umrah without using travel agents. They do it Umrah DIY. They go on the website, apply for a visa, book their own flights, book their own hotel. And in the future, there will be a time where people will do their own Hajj without using on Tabung Haji, basically on Tabung Haji. And there are now instances in terms of competitive deposit for investment, where they will put money as a depositor, they will put money elsewhere, not in Tabung Haji. And when their time is come for their turn to do Hajj, they will withdraw money from that institution, then put money for Tabung Haji. And so these are the challenges that we need to do. So we launched a transformation journey to future-proof Tabung Haji in terms of service provision under Hajj and competitive return. Other than relevance is that I think good story will be Nokia. Nokia control 80% of the market, handphone market at one point of time. And they were so complacent and forgotten that people want more from their mobile phone, and that's what happened to them. So for Tabung Haji should not be the next Nokia. And then the other part in terms of future proofing and relevance, it's governance.
Governance.
Enron, you know what happened to Enron because of governance. And American Insurance Group, AIG. So on our part, to the board, the shareholders, stakeholders, and the government, we are putting several initiatives basically to strengthen Tabung Haji in terms of relevance to the future, in terms of services and depositing, and corporate governance and best practices.
What are you going to change the act? That's it. I mean,
okay. One of it, we need to not change the act, enhance the act. Improve the act. Alif, can we go to slide 29? That's a snapshot. Basically, the act was enacted in 1995, Dato' Sharon. 1995. There was no iPhone then. Now we have iPhone 14, and we still rely on the same act where there was no iPhone. So I think we need to enhance the act to future protect Tabung Haji. And even the TH Act 1995, not a word is mentioned about Sharia, and yet we are a Sharia institution. So these are the 24 initiatives that we want to embark and has been embarking. And in terms of governance, the key initiative is Initiative 17, 18, and 19. This is to future-proof Tabung Haji in terms of governance and best practices. So yes, 18 is refinement of the Act, not changing the Act, refinement of the Act. And these are all the other initiatives to put Tabung Haji in the right direction, inshallah. Notwithstanding changes in government, ministers, chairman, or CEO of the board, Tabung Haji will remain an institution and future-proofing Tabung Haji.
But in terms of governance, though, I mean, you do already have certain, safeguards, don't you? I mean, in terms of investment committees and other sorts of committees which are meant to, which you find in other financial institutions.
We had an investment panel, and then it was disbanded in 2018. And last year in August, we introduced the investment panel. In terms of governance here, we are investing institution. And like you mentioned just now, we don't have a shareholders, we don't have an owner. Owner are third parties, depositors. So what we intend to do here is to reflect the governance in terms of management and monitoring. So what we've done is that composition of our board members, comprise independent parties and subject matter experts. For example, in the last 12 months, we have enhanced our board, comprising, I think, as you know, appointment of Tan Sri Azman Mokhtar as the chairman. He's independent. Appointment of Datin Paduka Kartini, former CIO and deputy CEO of PNB, with investment background. We appointed Sheikh Hamid Sheikh Muhammad, former CFO of Bursa and also a well-known corporate figure on the board. We appointed Professor Dr. Ashraf, a well-known Islamic finance scholar. And we also brought in Wasmudin, Sharia law expert. So you have subject matter expert. They are independent and they are subject matter expert because we are an institution. So we need subject matter expert. We established the investment panel in August, and these are independent party, independent of the board. We have Datin Masnah Mahbub as the chair, an investment banker, Puan Rosnah Kamuzaman, formerly from Bank Bank Bumi and CIMB. Because as you know, to a certain extent, Tabung Haji operate like bank. We brought in Dato Akmal from formerly PNB Properties and now CEO of TRX, a well-known property guy. Encik Yasir Arafat, CEO of Equinas, private equity. So these are where we need to enhance the governance, bring in subject matter expert, people who are well-known in the industry, and first and foremost, independence. Why? To ensure, to protect Tabung Haji, to ensure that decision made by management of Tabung Haji is steadfast and it's professional.
Wow, I mean, it's a heavy responsibility. I mean, finance as a whole, you're looking at other people's money, but this is Tabung Haji. This is a different order of responsibility.
Sorry to see this word. We are next to God, so let's do this properly.
But how did it happen that there were problems? How could there possibly be governance problems in something like this? But anyway.
Okay, when I joined, I told my colleagues, I don't want to know what happened in the past. Let's look forward. Let's improve. Dato' Sharon, you have a beautiful sports car. You're driving 180, 120 miles an hour in the highway. You can't afford to every time look at your mirror. So let's move forward. Let's improve things in Tabung Haji. We have less than 2 years to do this. So.
No, you're absolutely right. I'm just going to go quickly some of the questions, and then we can go back to this.
Thank you for the fact. Thanks. Yep.
Yeah. So the first question is from Johanna. This is a very operational question. Can one hibah the deposit in Tabung Haji like ASB?
Yeah, we are in the midst of providing the services. You can go to any Tabung Haji counter, and you can also do it online. We have a Tijari app, basically.
Oh, it's a great app, by the way. It really is a really good app, the Tijari app. It's
this partly of future-proofing Tabung Haji, as you know. Basically, there will be a time where brick and mortar branches will be no longer relevant. So we have an app provides services for depositors and also for pilgrims. This year, we launched a e-hajj app for pilgrims, so they can do their services through the ease of mobile phone, basically, where they are in Mecca.
Where they're in Mecca. Wow, that's fantastic. The next question is from Zaki, Muhammad Zaki Zainuddin from Berita Harian. His question is, THS performance this year is lower than last year's. Sorry, is THS performance this year lower than last year's? And if so, why? And what about 2023? Does it remain challenging?
Okay, this year, Dato Sharon has been very challenging because, as you can see, our SAA, our investment profile is no different than EPF or even PNB. And very much the return will be based on the performance of the stock market, global and local, and also the capital market. It will be challenging, but inshallah, we are confident that we are able to register good profits, competitive profits, reflecting our profile, and hopefully we'll be able to pay our bagian. So the challenges, it's a very challenging 2022 in terms of capital market and financial performance. But inshallah, steadfast, we will be there. 2023, based on reports, based on feedbacks, it will continue to be very challenging. But hopefully, we are ready for 2023.
Yes. We're all hoping for a better 2023, and I'm personally optimistic for 2023, but not everybody else is. Shafiqah Salim had a similar question. The next question is from Young Atika Habali. Says, paying Hajj financial support is a trade-off, and it's complex for loose. So how do you ensure, given all this, how do you ensure that Lembaga LTH's returns are competitive as compared to ESB, for example?
Basically, we have a strategic asset allocation, and basically also based on the SAA, we have a target in terms of our return bagian to depositors. Given the risk profile and our SAA, our target would be 0.5 to 1% above Islamic FD rate, basically. So if the Islamic FD rate is between 2% to 3%, let's say 2%, and then we are targeting between 2.5 to 3% of total return. Gone are the days where there, as you mentioned just now, supra return, because those were based on equity, and now given our SAA, strategic asset allocation profile, reflecting our nature of our operation and liabilities, those are our targets in terms of our return. To be competitive, be higher than market, but not so much against a typical fund management or unit trust. As Dato Sharon mentioned, you can withdraw your cash instantaneously.
Instantly. That is,
and it's at risk-free rate to a certain extent.
Yes, it is. I mean, normally if you put FD for 6 months, you want to withdraw early, you lose your returns. You put money unit trust, you can't get it out today. You have to wait till tomorrow or the day after tomorrow.
That's right.
So Sufi Muhammad from The Edge says, if the number of depositors impacts the returns, is there a strategy to increase depositors, and does a slow growth number of depositors impact THS returns? Do you depend on depositors' returns?
No, it's more in terms of the depositors amount. Yes, you're right. It's like working capital in business. You need working capital generally. So what we've done here is actually we've started the program early this year to increase our depositors and also deposit amount. But what we want is sticky deposit, pure savings. So we are targeting salary deduction.
Mm-hmm.
So this also shows seriousness of the depositor for savings and for savings for Hajj, and also for those who not has a Tabung Haji account. Technically, currently only 43% of Malaysian Muslim residents has an account with Tabung Haji. So untapped is about almost 53%. So we are targeting to increase our depositors and for them to register for Hajj if they can afford, and of course to also increase the deposit amount. Basically, salary reduction and so on.
Okay. Khairi Hisham Aliman says, I think you should answer this question. What are the key 2 to 3 cores of Hijrah 24 and how they've moved the needle? I think you've covered all that, haven't you?
Yeah. 24 initiative. I think key is the TH Act, the review of the business model. Of course, the rest is digitalization, future-proofing. Digitalization not only in terms of deposit taking, but also hajj operation. The other part is our strategy asset allocation, our investment profile, and then most importantly, you have the plans, but to execute the plans, you need to have a strong, able, capable, committed workforce. So human resource is that one.
That's right. Amanda Lopez, who I believe your old colleague, said, has Tabung Haji seen a spike in deposits during the many EPF withdrawal schemes during COVID? And if so, how much?
Yeah, we saw that spike to a certain extent because here Dato Sharon is a depositor. So
why do you use me all the time?
Yeah, easier. So he's a depositor. He has withdrawn money from EPF. He looks around. Hey, if I put in bank A, insurance covered is only 250,000. So he puts in Tabung Haji. And Tabung Haji, inshallah, provide competitive returns. And it's at the risk-free rate. Basically, yeah, we saw a spike in the need. But of course, also over a period of time, also we see withdrawals. I think the EPF withdrawals, especially with EPF withdrawal scheme and the current situation, MCO, post-MCO, I think it's a bit taxing to people on the street. So you see massive withdrawals, massive deficit, and so on. So yes, initially we saw a spike in deficit, culminating from the EPF special withdrawal schemes.
Okay. Thank you. There are a lot more questions, but before those, we just turn to some of the challenges you face. For example, perhaps the legacy challenges. I mean, you are an investor in the Telecom Malaysia EBS, and also an investor in hotels in Saudi Arabia as well.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Dato Sharon. I think Ali, we can go to slide 32 if possible. Yeah, I think early this year, Tabung Haji and Telecom made headlines. I think it came out in newspaper. It's about an investment structure called Menara ABS, Asset-Backed Security. So Menara Telekom Bangsa, basically. Menara Telekom Bangsa.
That tall building we can see from everywhere, right?
That. Alif, slide 32, slide 32, Alif. So that building, slide 32. Yeah, slide. So the tall building in Bangsa, is tenanted by Telecom Malaysia, but the building is owned by a special purpose vehicle called Menara ABS, and Tabung Haji is one of the largest sukuk holder of Menara ABS. So these are challenges which we need to address, because the property market is very challenging, Dato Sharon, in Malaysia, where the new way of life, the new way of working, post-MCO, suddenly you realize that you don't actually need a physical office to work. So there's been a lot of challenges. And as mentioned, quite significant of Tabung Haji investment are into property. So there's a challenge in terms of rental market currently. And I think Menara ABS or Menara TM is one of the biggest challenges for Tabung Haji, something that we need to address. Convincing telecom to remain in the building or finding new tenants. The other part is that, of course, because of the MCO, Tabung Haji had an investment in 4 hotels, in 3 in Medina and Mekah. And because of the MCO, lower number of Umrah visits and absence of Hajj for 2 years has in a way affected Tabung Haji investment in our Raudah. So this is something that we need to manage. Moving forward, the other challenges that we need to address every year is actually the Hajj costs and Hajj payment. Alhamdulillah, I think government has been very supportive, and inshallah, based on the announcement made by the current government and Honorable Prime Minister, we are aligned. Hopefully, we're able to revise and increase the Hajj payment gradually. But inshallah, the Hajj financial assistance or subsidy will remain, but something where it's of optimal balance between the depositors and, of course, Tabung Haji. And again, as you mentioned, competitive profit distribution is a challenge because we need to attract deposit. We need money to make money. And but the other day, we have certain risk profile that we need to adhere to. And the other part, we need to compete against other of alternative investment. So this is a challenge for us. Alhamdulillah, at this moment, Tabung Haji have turned light today. Our next challenge will be our subsidiaries. We have some strategic asset other than capital market asset investment, mainly TH Property, TH Plantation, Data Age, Bank Islam Associate, and also Shariah-compliant associates. For us, next is to turn around these subsidiaries, these strategic asset.
Okay. Actually, on subsidiaries, maybe if you just clear up a little bit about urus harta jemaah. That is nothing to do with Tabung Haji, right? What is
that? Is nothing to do with Tabung Haji. That's, I think, the perception from day one. Urus harta jemaah is 100% owned by Ministry of Finance Incorporated, basically. It's a special purpose vehicle company, purely set up to buy distressed assets of Tabung Haji. Equity, Suko, even some subsidiaries and associates. So basically, it was completed in 2019. So all this distressed asset was sold by Tabung Haji to Urus Harta Jemaah. In return, Urus Harta Jemaah issued Sukuk. It's like Dana Harta in the 1999. So issue Sukuk to Tabung Haji, and basically to address this asset liability issue because of the performance of this distressed asset. The asset value of Tabung Haji had declined below liabilities. And the special purpose company called Urus Harta Jemaah, UJSB, owned by MOF, was set up to buy the distressed asset, take out this distressed asset from Tabung Haji, replace it with government sukuk. That enabled the asset value of Tabung Haji to be better and higher than liability. So it has nothing to do with Tabung Haji.
Right. No, only I asked you because some distressed assets still have the Tabung Haji name on them, right? But
yeah, we had a discussion. So hopefully within the next 12 months, they will drop the TH name, basically. Quite difficult to answer responses. What's happening to TH Marine? We don't own TH Marine. Who's the CEO, the board member?
yes,
They are no longer building ships.
Okay, right. A few more questions from the people tuning in. Shafika wants to know: are you diversifying your investment portfolio, and what are your future investment plans?
Yes, we had a strategic asset allocation, as we mentioned earlier just now. It must reflect our risk profile. Our risk profile is that we need annual return, annual, and also capital appreciation. We also need where cater for requests for immediate withdrawal, which Dato Sri mentioned. Diversifying our asset base is quite key. One is for us natural hedge, because the key of our obligation liabilities in Saudi Arabia. So we need this natural hedge. At the same time, also we want to diversify our assets into other markets and also into other sectors. Basically, should not put one basket. So, but in accordance with our strategy asset allocation policy.
So I mean, traditionally, Tabung Haji has owned companies, right? You own plantation companies, you own this, you own that. Do you see yourself doing that in the future? Do you see yourself as being an owner of an owner-operator of assets, or do you be more like a portfolio?
That's the dilemma that we have now in Tabung Haji. Part of our transformation journey, we had discussion with our stakeholders, the government, and also at the board level, even investment panel, whether we should be just purely a portfolio manager or a hybrid portfolio plus certain amount of strategy asset. That's possible. To be honest, Dato' Harun, we are still looking into that. Portfolio manager or portfolio, but maintaining presence in key strategic assets. For example, now we have plantation. It's quite key. Then property, financial institution, those. So we are still looking at it. Interesting to note. It will be the outcome of RCI. You call this RCI, Royal Commission Inquiry, on Tabung Haji, and from what we gathered, the RCI will make recommendation on Tabung Haji with regards to the way forward, business model, even maybe type of investment that we should embark on, in addition to governance and best practices. Hopefully, once the cabinet is formed, then we will see the recommendation or suggestion.
No, because in the video just now, it talked about Tabung Haji investing in hospitality assets, which makes sense because that's part of your core, one of the core competencies of Tabung Haji as an operator.
Sadly, it was one of those distressed assets. So the hotels has been sold to Satu Jemaah.
Okay.
Currently, we only have one hotel in KLIA, Tabung Haji did not sell that particular asset because it's being used for our Hajj operation during the Hajj season. Yeah, you're right. It has some relevant synergistic because of our Hajj operation, but then again, there's pros and cons. I mean, we had our internal discussion. Some say we should retain the hospitality asset to complement our operation during Hajj. Some say that you drink milk, you don't need to own the cow. You just go to 7-Eleven and buy your milk. So since we do the Hajj operation once a year, maybe at the time that's two school of thought. We didn't have.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Maybe during the Hajj season, we rent a hotel or lease hotel during that period. So that's the dilemma within. But
yeah, this kind of asset light strategy. Some people are for it, some people are, and things change. But you know, just thinking about, and you're talking about future-proofing Tabung Haji, and you're right. You know, you're already leading the way in digital, and people will become, if you like, more self-service. You know, people want to make their own choices. You know, what airline do I fly? Where do I stay? And how do I invest? So. And when Tabung Haji was invented in 1963, there was no Islamic savings institution. You were the only alternative. Now, you know, there's so many Islamic unit trusts, there's so many Islamic funds, so many Islamic savings institutions. Do you think there's still a role for Tabung Haji then as a savings institution? And maybe you should just outsource all your money to all the you know, other asset managers out there.
Okay, this was, I think, one of the, before I came in, that was one of the areas that they evaluate to. But I think one is that in terms of savings, we should remain an institution, providing alternative to the other institution, basically, in terms of savings. One is that our risk profile, like risk-free rate, basically, and then we can provide immediate withdrawal. And key is that it provides complementary to the Hajj operation. Let's say if you are a Jemaah, so you have your money with Tabung Haji and you do your Hajj journey with Tabung Haji. Then other than that, pooling of savings, pooling of resources, basically. So you just, like you said the right point just now, we are like a fund manager, just that we take deposit on daily basis. Where you go to any other asset management company, you have a lot of this KYC and so on. You know, you have to fill up. And so here is like a hybrid asset management company. So yes, that's why under Hijrah 24 we need to increase our services, increase our competitiveness and quality of services and competitive return to ensure that Tabung Haji is sustainable. Because I've been in media, I've seen how disruption changed the media landscape altogether.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
People don't read newspaper anymore. So I say just now, Nokia, what happened to Nokia? They control 80% of the market and then they poof, disappeared. So that's very key. People initially said, oh, as long as they Hajj, people will use Tabung Haji. I said, yeah, but I have a friend who went to London without using, first time in London, without using travel agent, do things online and so on. So there'll be a time where people can do Hajj on their own. They just go directly. And now, just to share with our challenges in Tabung Haji is actually future-proofing with regards to our field of operation in Saudi. You can see Saudi Arabia in the last couple of years have been more objective under MBS is to expand the economy and reducing their reliance on oil. In terms of tourism, they have this Vision 2030 Saudi. And last year, they've introduced 4 types of visa because they want to increase tourism. They have a tourist visa, a Hajj visa, business visa, and an Umrah visa. And most of these visa you can apply online. So if that happens, you don't need to go to Tabung Haji to go for Hajj. You can go directly to the Saudi embassy to do all this. So for here, we need to improve on things, introduce other type of services, in way becoming a very good travel agent to do your Hajj with.
Sure. My goodness. Thank you. It's 1:30, and it was a fantastic conversation, Sri. Thank you so much. I think I certainly learned a lot about the challenges of Tabung Haji, and I'm sure all our listeners do. So may I just end by wishing you all the best. And thank you. Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.